Check. 1, 2.
Yeah,
1, 2. We good?
Let's check.
We good. We run that back. Before. No, we good. Just let us know. Confirm. Make sure everything is real life.
We want to make sure y'all hears. So we have
So,
good stuff going.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So listen, just a quick side note, a pause for the callers. Yeah, we were just talking. So please notice, ladies and gentlemen, in life, anything that you do, when you're doing something major, minor things will attempt to make themselves major to get in your way. We refuse to let that happen. I was just telling the gentleman, the little technical difficulties are only an indication that we are on to something major. And so with that said, we're back at it. We had some challenges before, so just to kind of kick things off, happy Friday, ladies and gentlemen. Good to see y'all, fellas.
Definitely.
They didn't hear us. They didn't hear us before.
Good stuff. We got
good to be in the same room with y'all, man. We're celebrating. They don't necessarily need to know the details, but we're grateful, man, for the major accomplishment that you had this week, brother. Good. Yeah, absolutely deserved. You might be on time now.
Let's not go too far.
Well, we know what the payoff is. Good. Stay at least 6 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, we are the King's Cutting Board. Happy Friday to each and every one of you. We hope that you've had a phenomenal day, a phenomenal week. If you would take a second, please like and follow. We greatly appreciate it. You can find us on Facebook at the Kings. I'm sorry, not the Kings. Kings Board. KINGS BOARD as in dope. And then also on YouTube at the Kings Cutting Board 2024. Don't just like, don't just follow, but if you find value in the things that we're bringing to you all, please also share with the people that you like, love, and respect. We thank you in advance. So we are the King's Cutting Board. The three of us came together kind of like a brown super friends, if you will. Brown curly hair super friends. I would say bearded. I'm not going to let you. I got a beard that I could grow out. And we did it for a specific reason. We have to give props to our executive producer. The three of us came together just out of conversations that we were having around life, around love, around relationships, and her saying, you know what? You all need to go live, and that evolved to you all should do a podcast. And so what we were intentional about was creating a space where men could come, let me back up, mature, evolve, emotionally intelligent men could come and share their diverse perspectives about life, love, and relationships. And we did it not just to be talking, not just to be providing content, but because we saw a need, right? There are a lot of venues out there that are talking about relationships. And all too often what we see is them pitting or putting, especially Black men and Black women at odds, right? Mm-hmm. Finger pointing and men don't do enough of this or women don't do that. And so when we came together, we wanted to provide something very, very different. And so our unapologetic intention is to create dialogue that helps men and women, especially Black men and women, lean in, right? To talk to each other more than at each other and to create new norms when it comes to what relationships look like. Please understand our families and our future really depend on our ability to lean in, love one another, listen to one another, understand one another, right? And grow together as opposed to be at odds. We are so much better together than we are at odds. And so if you resonate with that, again, please like, follow, and share. Know this, we are not clickbait, right? We're not and comment, absolutely. We chime in, we want to hear from you. Not only we want to hear from you about what we're talking about, we would love to hear from you about what you would like to hear us talk about.
Definitely.
And so we're not necessarily going to be talking about what the rest of the world is talking about. And even if we do, we're going to be providing a unique perspective on it. That's not going to be clickbait. That's not going to be sensationalized. It's not necessarily always going to be popular, but we do believe it's going to be of value. Sometimes it's going to be deep, thought-provoking, right? There's not a single episode that goes by where we don't say that that's a quote, especially for Bruce Bailey over there, right? Tonight, though, is going to be a little bit different. It might be slightly comical, right? And so tonight's topic, ladies and gentlemen, is
Right.
The overnight bag, right? Not that it's only about the overnight bag, but this topic, literally like all the rest, which you guys may not know, and we say continuously, these gentlemen are iron. So is Di, our executive producer, who's off camera. So literally all day, every day, we're having conversations about life, love, and relationships. Literally, sometimes at 2:00 in the morning, Capri sends us like 72 clips every single day. What do y'all think about this? What do y'all think about this? So we are constantly talking, and in the process, we're bettering one another. We're becoming more mature. We're becoming more evolved. We become better listeners. We're more transparent. We're more accountable, right? Because of the positive impact that we have with each other. And so when we sit in front of you all, they're really seeing just a small snippet of how we live our life. So I have to salute you all because there's nothing fake or phony, right? We're not sitting in front of this camera presenting a representative, if you will. This is really who we are and how we are. And so this topic, like so many of the other topics came up, it was the conversation after the episode. So we did an episode, I forgot what the episode, was it the Father's Day, Fatherless episode?
It may have been. Yeah.
I think that was it. Anyway, after
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Which one was it?
When everything was
I
over.
remember that part, right? And so as it tends to
Why
happen,
do you remember that part?
oh no, he brought that up. You're not gonna, no,
I'm just
no.
I'm just asking the question.
Yeah.
Oh, you nah. I knew you were gonna do it. And so as it tends to happen, after we wrap, after we turn the cameras off, we sit and we talk for hours. It's about life, love, relationship. And this, you can kind of give some background, right? Because you were talking about that, how this came up, because I couldn't remember how we started talking about the overnight bag.
So initially, one of our topics was, as a matter of fact, I think this was our last show. The show prior to the one we had last week, where we talk about things that potentially will make you reconsider relationship.
Right. Yeah.
Right. We start, and our producer was like, "Hey, listen to things that potentially will make you reconsider relationship." So we got through the episode, the meeting after the meeting, and we started talking about really the things that really will make you consider a relationship.
Right.
One being a female with condoms. And not just one, not just two, not just three, it's like one phone. Right? And then the other thing was women having these overnight bags in their trunks. Right. Now here's the thing I want y'all to understand. It is not our intent to judge, right? Because we really, in some sense, the flip side of it is it could really be a safety hazard, right? You out, hey, you never know what happened. You want to make sure you always prepared, right? So we want to lend you our perspective on how we see these things.
How it looks like.
You're like, okay, well, if it's a safety hazard, and it's preventive, right? It's being proactive. What exactly? So for me, because me and Dad was having this conversation, and I didn't even know this, right? She was like, "Yeah, I always carry an overnight bag." Whoa!
So ladies, child, if you all are listening, if you have an overnight bag in your car, in your trunk right now, if you have an overnight bag in your trunk right now, or one sitting, I don't know, by the door at home,
Right.
We want to know. Be brave enough to raise your hand.
And guys too, because we found out not many guys, but there are a few guys that literally have.
We literally saw some right. Yeah. It was called. It's hilarious.
So we want to hear from y'all. I mean, I will say this. One of the things that I appreciate about my wife is her transparency.
Absolutely.
Right. So much so that there have been times I'm like, okay, you're a little too transparent.
Yeah. Don't share that much.
Right. let's keep it real. Men don't want to hear all the details.
Right.
We can't fathom that type of stuff. We don't want to hear all the details. Leave all that out, right? But one of the things that have helped me certainly in relationship, because what I always wanted to understand is how to better understand female, right? Not to the point to use it as an advantage, but to use it as an enhancement.
Already said something good.
Right? Because for us, once Di started to express to me some of the things that she, kind of was doing, or some of the things that females, some of the thought processes that females go through, why they go through them.
Yeah.
And one of the things that illuminated to me in these conversations was, and this is why I felt that was so different, and we talked about this all the time. When I first met Di, I was like, that's not her. That's not her. You know what I mean?
You just created an episode all by yourself, right?
I mean,
Keep going though. I'm sorry, keep going.
Because while she allowed me to understand why females do some of the things they do, it now gave light to a lot of hurting females out there. And I think there are less men that have the capacity to deal with these hurt females properly.
Man, listen. So every episode, I swear to God, you say something that belongs on the t-shirt. Right? Like I'm not brown nosing when I say this just because you're my brother, but there's so much brilliance in what you just said. So you said you listened to her, right? And you made a choice, right, to not use it as an advantage, but as an enhancement.
Absolutely.
So it speaks to your intentions, right? Yeah. Which goes to one of the pillars of our platform. We always talk about creating standards for yourselves in the relationship, right? The things that are non-negotiable before you're going to interact with somebody, talk with somebody, date with somebody, sleep with somebody. What are the foundational things that must be in place really that keep you safe? And that safety is about whether it's your health and wellness from a sexual perspective, your emotional well-being, your spiritual well-being. And my God, man, if the people that we're partnering with or seeing or dating or spending time with, if you don't know that they have your best interests at heart, you really need to be doing something else with your time.
I mean, and that's the thing, Vic. I think, and we're veering off. We're going to circle back. I promise you. We're going to circle back. But I think it's important to understand that in these situations and circumstances when you're dealing with someone, and I believe this with all my heart, a person's intentions. Absolutely. Right? At some point in time. And that's not to say that even the person doesn't intend well.
Yeah.
Right? But to move the stick a little further, while they have an intention, I also want to question your motive for the intention.
So people have their own understanding of things, right? So while a person being in a relationship or what have you with this person here and their perspective and understanding is one way. So depending on how long they've been in that situation with that person, they kind of adapted and changed, so to speak. You know what I mean? To fit that person.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So right. Sometimes with the good and sometimes with the not so good.
Exactly.
Right.
So depending on how long they've been with that person is how deep it can be rooted.
Absolutely.
So when that person leaves, you're still with that. You still have that. And you may be trying to get it out or whatever the case may be, but it can be that residue that's still there that you're trying to scrape off and get off. We're off subject a little bit, but
all related.
It's definitely got related.
Definitely.
But let's bring it back to this thing. So fellas, what are some of the things that make you go, ooh, whoa, wait a minute.
But that bag in the car is certainly.
We've already decided that the bag is what?
I'm not even gonna lie. Here's the thing, right? With this bag. Females, right? What's it's wild to me how females don't necessarily like, approve, whatever the case may be, when you consider them one way or another, right?
Yeah.
So if I say, shorty, like, you got a bag in your trunk.
It's like, it's funny that they do that to us constantly.
They do it constantly.
And they walk around with condoms.
So I was our first thought, right? Our first thought, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. As a man, when we see an overnight bag in the car, in spite of why that bag is there, regardless of why that bag is there, our first thought is she ready.
She
going.
She for them. She for them.
You a pro.
Well, I don't know no other way of putting it, right? And what we often talk about is perception.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's highly important. And while some people say, I don't care what people think about me, lies.
Yeah.
Lies.
Yeah.
Because the moment I say something about you,
Right.
you take offense to what I'm saying about you. But yet I'm only saying what I see. So if I see an overnight bag and I'm thinking to myself, shorty,
Mm-hmm.
what else should I be thinking at that time? And I'm just saying this because let me go a step further. Based on my experience
Right.
and having dealings with females with bags in the car.
And you know what? The crazy part about it is, you guys, a lot of times, not all of you, but a lot of times, you discredit our experiences. So if we had experiences quite a few times, and you like, wait a minute, you're upset when we express our experiences that we've had with
Mhm.
others, and it's like, nah, take it into consideration, and then just reassure that you're not like that. That's it.
Let's keep it a buck. Oftentimes, not only our experience is discredited, our opinions are discredited,
Mhm.
right? Our thoughts,
That's
our
true.
feelings, our emotions,
Very true.
right? Our perspectives are discredited, which is a whole different episode. But by and large, right,
Mhm.
it's one of the reasons why men keep so silent, because so often our thoughts, our feelings, right, our perspectives are either not received, or even when they're heard, they get immediately defensive, to the point where so often women, you all won't hear or receive the feedback, right? The legitimate criticism that we have for you all. And all too often when we do, the emotional reaction that we get causes us to not do it again, because we then end up feeling like we have to expend time and energy repairing your hurt feelings.
That's a whole
It's a whole nother
it's a
episode.
whole nother episode.
But ladies, if you want to understand why so often men don't say anything, is because all too often you aren't ready to hear what it is that we have to say to you.
It's a fact. And which raises another point. If you want to receive patience, you gotta sow patience.
Fact.
Right? Larisha said, she said maybe back in the day, because the question was asked, ladies, do you carry an overnight bag? Larisha, we know you grown now.
Right.
We talk about back in the day. And then what we talk about back in the day is back in the day 6 years ago. Help us out, because listen,
And why did you have it back in
why
the day?
did you have the bag in the
Keep
first
it buck.
place?
What were you doing?
What were you doing with the bag?
And we don't want to hear nothing about no damn happy hour. Cut it out. So, and here's the thing. While that may honestly be your legitimate reason, that's what we're saying. It's kind of like, honestly, don't introduce the overnight bag to us when you know what I mean? Because it's going to get us to formulate that opinion that she was ready.
And let me nip some stuff in the book, right? Because even if they're not carrying an overnight bag now, they were carrying it then.
Mm-hmm.
But don't judge me. You don't know what I was. But let's keep it a buck, ladies. Right? What you see formed all of your opinions about it. What kind of shoes we have,
Basically.
what kind of car we were driving, is his haircut, right? What's he drinking?
Are your cuticles?
You understand what I'm saying?
Girl,
Everything. Where does he live? How does he live? Right?
All that.
How does he move? Right? Can he dance? All of these things factor into whether you all find us fit, attractive, or not. So when we turn that around and we notice things about you all that might make us pause, right? Because I don't like dirty shoes either.
Girl, he got on a car.
LaBrisha said about 20 years.
He got a crease in
LaBrisha said it got about 20
got a
years.
sweater tucked in.
So LaBrisha, why did you have a bag? What was your reasoning for carrying your
Share with
overnight?
the congregation.
That's what it is.
I mean, if you can. We don't want to force you to say
I know.
anything, that you don't want to. But
So if we're gonna get on,
I got another too.
I gotta go back to things that make us, reconsider.
Oh,
Men a lot of times, things that make us reconsider aren't necessarily on the same level as women.
depends.
Yeah, I was gonna say
It depends on the option the man has.
right, at the time and the age and so on and so forth. So, to me, there are a lot of things. Chip toenails.
But why? Go ahead. Get into
Chip
it.
toenails. You know how women, when you guys get your fingernails painted, and it might be time to get a new coat or what have you, and you've been plucking off or scraping off the old. Yeah, don't go out on a date like
So,
that.
Don, so what did the chip toenails say?
The chip toenails say that it's a rough life. It's a rough life.
Anyway, LaBrisha. So LaBrisha said it was 20 years ago.
Okay.
She said he had his own place.
Okay.
I had mine.
Okay. Okay.
So
So singular. He on him.
he had his own
He had
place.
his own place. Okay.
She had her own.
Okay.
Okay. LaBrisha, I want to take this a step further while we converse. Were you guys committed to one another in that relationship? Right? Because it sounds like single, but there was some type of commitment. I could be wrong, but you can clear it up for us, LaBrisha, right? Because even still, right? I'm gonna say this. If you put the overnight bag in there specifically to go to his house, that's one thing. That's not what we talking about.
Right. You want to spend the night.
We talking about y'all out. Y'all may just have met, 30 days in, let's say, right? 30 days in, for some reason, he like, hey, get the umbrella out the trunk. I go to the trunk, and it's a bag full of clothes, detergent, soap, mouthwash, and
a suitcase.
Yeah.
And you like, okay.
Or the first time, LaBrisha, he said, "Man, I don't want you to stay with me." Were you like, "Okay, I'll be right back."
Ready.
I'll be right back. Because that's different.
Then he goes to the
That's
trunk.
different.
It's quite different. Right? And I'm gonna tell you, I don't want to give any secrets, but I'm just gonna say this. It definitely comes off a certain type of way to men, right? If I come to your house, I remember when I first met that we first started dealing with each other. I'm over the house, I open a drawer. I'm like, condoms in this drawer. So I'm like, what? Like,
See?
Whoa!
hey,
See?
hey, I know you got 6 kids,
Right.
but you plan that.
What's going on? What's going on? Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. We need to talk.
Yeah.
Go out the living room. So, what out the bedroom?
We just want to help y'all understand
Right.
the perception to men, right? Because at that point, men have a choice.
Facts.
Right.
Right? Men have a choice.
No robbers of our choice.
It's our choice.
Right.
The choice is she a hoe or she a housewife.
Right.
That I gotta transform from a hoe.
Right.
Right.
Right. Well, you know, it's the same way. Say, for example, ladies, if a guy you invite a guy over, and he spends the night, and then the next day or what have you, I'm in the neighborhood. He pop up and he got bags with him, and you like, what the hell is he doing? He's just, it's the perception. It's the
We
perception.
talked about this one night. We were texting. Di, you were on one that night, and we were texting back and forth. And I forgot who said it. So, ladies, so just imagine. So, we talking about the overnight bag. Ladies, you go to a guy's house for the first time. You walk into his bedroom, and he has mirrors on the ceiling.
So I know somebody who would be absolutely grateful for those mirrors. I ain't saying no name.
Here's what's going to happen undoubtedly, though. You're going to pause for a second,
Yeah.
right? It's going to be a decision to make. It's either what the hell or let's go, right? But it is one of those moments that make you pause. And so that's all we're talking about with the overnight bag. It is not just the overnight bag, right? That might make us pause. So I talked about.
So go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, so Yolanda said, what if she doesn't have it in common?
That's
I mean, we're
You know,
men. We'll run out and go get some and come back.
So this is what we talked about that night. And listen, there's ladies, let's keep it a buck, right? We're grown, we're mature. If you're having sex, hopefully you're being safe, right? So there's nothing wrong with that.
Not a thing.
There's a difference in having
Protection.
a box worth and a case worth, right? If you have 5 or 6,
you talking the 7-Eleven box.
so exactly. Like
Wawa.
3,
Or
4,
Wawa.
exactly.
Right. We're talking the Amazon.
Versus
The Amazon.
They got the mail.
They got delivered.
The kids to help bring it back.
Subscription. Every 30 days. Come on, man. Come
Hey,
on.
look. Hey.
Man, let's be clear. If that's how you live your life, as long as
It
you
is
are
what it
open,
is.
upfront, and consistent,
Yes.
that's cool. But you have to understand that is absolutely gonna make us pause and reconsider.
Because I look at it like, if she runs into her son's room and she she know where her son.
I was getting ready to say that.
So again, Yolanda said, if I have a case because I buy in bulk, am I? Listen.
Let's go, baby.
Yolanda?
Listen. We're not saying you're a hoe,
At all.
but for us, you got some hoish ways. Though.
You got some explaining.
You got some hoish. You didn't even got to explain.
True.
Well,
Yeah.
And explain. Because again, we're just giving you what men consider. Because a lot of times, I think, and let me explore this real quick. I think a lot of times because men, because females have access to men by any means necessary,
Yeah.
I think they get confused with men that actually care.
Absolutely.
Right. So when I say that, I'm saying from a standpoint, what we're doing is expressing to you the thought, the mindset of a man at that given moment. Right. Whether or not he sees you as a whole or not, that's really not what we're dealing with. Right. And I'm saying that because, again, that doesn't mean that is not a good woman.
Right.
Or even a woman who could potentially be a wife.
Right.
It does not mean that.
Well, go ahead, finish up.
Okay, but what it does mean, or what it does demonstrate to us, is that that there's something in addition to just her and I,
Right.
right? And so now for me, I have a choice to make at that time on whether or not, you know, I wanna talk about why you have all these condoms, you know, and whether or not, because again, it raises the eyebrow. And you in my opinion, you're starting off potentially a relationship that's gonna have some trust challenges
Yes.
at minimum.
Yes.
At minimum.
And here's what should not happen, ladies. We should all live authentically. We should all live our lives.
Hey, Yolanda, I ran back out and got some condoms.
I was getting ready to say, that's what I was getting ready to say, look.
That's the thing, man. I'm sorry.
You good?
Minnie's so pressed.
We going back.
Damn, if it's ain't my phone. Listen, hey, listen. I'm gonna go out and get these condoms because you asked me.
Stay
Stay right there. Don't do nothing
Don't
different.
move. Don't
Give me
move.
like 5 minutes. I
Right.
promise you. When I tell you we gonna run in this 7-Eleven and pass everything up and get these condoms,
No.
so we can be back in the matter of time.
My man, the blue box. The blue box.
The blue
Blue
box,
Oh,
bro.
right there. No, right there.
Like this on skates. Come on, man. You know better, Yolanda. Don't do that.
And listen, ladies,
Come on,
the
beloved.
things that we're sharing with you, what you shouldn't do is switch your behavior, right? Because to your point, you mentioned something that was really dope and was really powerful, right? When you got with Di, you saw what she was doing and how she was moving, and you were like, it's not even her.
Right.
The worst thing that you should do with the information that we're providing you all is switch up how you move, because when you meet the person that you're supposed to meet,
Yeah.
oh,
Certain things don't matter.
I almost cursed. That stuff doesn't matter.
Right.
Because they're able to see you for who
Who
you are and how you are, right? And whether it's the punch bowl or the bag. Admit it. Don't- Just go have a punch bowl full and a bag. Like, pick one.
Right.
Don't make it too hard.
Look at that book bag over there.
That go to your son. That go. Your son.
Real
That's
talk.
what-
though.
I'm gonna
tell you this, the other thing, it also can leave the perception that that particular female is not ready to sell.
That's true. That's true.
Right? It could be a point where, you know, I mean, and again, I like to use me and Di because I think a lot of what we dealt with a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so it helped me kind of understand the whole navigation of this
Mhm.
dating situation and how frustrated it could potentially be.
Sure.
Dating, you know what I mean? So when we first started seeing one another, we established, hey, listen, I just want to date.
Right.
Like we're gonna have fun. You know, we're gonna get some of the condoms out your drawer. And you know, if you got the overnight bag, we're gonna use that too. You know what I'm saying? I'm just kidding.
Keep it a middle inventory.
I'm just saying, right? Hey. So you can go out
Yeah, what the-
when you on your way back, just call me. If she got condoms, I won't be surprised about none other condoms falling out that
Right,
drawer.
right.
You know, if she got condoms and the bag, driving the minivan,
Ain't never heard this coffee flavor.
I'm just saying.
Everything when you wake up.
So again, I think what's important, because what's also equally important for females is that at that moment, right, if you really like a guy and you're intending to have a real relationship, you gotta start showing them something different at that point. Right?
Yolanda, we have no reason to lie, sweetheart. Yes, he married her. Yes,
What happened?
we
What did
will
we miss?
definitely go out and get them. I don't know where you're getting this from, but we guys will go out and get. If they want it, they're going out to get it.
I'm just saying, I've gone.
I'm gone now. I don't know what you get there.
Yolanda, here's one thing that
I've certainly
I can tell you. We'll speak to Yolanda and everybody else. There's nobody up here.
Me and Yolanda went to school together. She got a little bit of my track. She knows, like she knows some of
We're gonna keep
the
it a buck.
foolishness
Right.
We're gonna keep it a buck.
He will go
I
out.
promise you.
I know.
We're not saying anything. that's
I'm
not
going
legit.
out. I don't care. My car ain't working and it's raining. So I'm soaking wet.
So
I'm just stripping the
so
breeze.
die being petty. I just want y'all to know die being petty. And you know, this is how you can know I ran out. That just text me. I used to run out for chips. Like if she needed chips, and it's about me getting some, I'll be right back. Do you need anything else?
But that's
Funny as you are funny.
that's what it looks like. Let me get the big bag. Matter of fact, I'm gonna get you 3 bags.
Do y'all think women actually recognize that when we willing to go that extreme?
I think they that's great actually. I think they recognize it, but I think they misinterpret it.
Do they appreciate it?
I think they appreciate it, but I think they misinterpret it. Because if I do that, it doesn't mean that I want you to be my butt.
Right.
It just
Right.
means I want something.
Right. That's real enough, Yolanda.
And they may, but you know what though, they may not.
That's what I say.
What?
Some do, some don't.
But that's incumbent upon us.
Us.
Something that men don't do.
Yolanda say she be asleep. You ain't even right, Yolanda. See what I'm saying?
She says-
Hey, listen. Some of us,
That wake
You
up.
up.
That wake up.
Oh, wake you up.
it's really got me up.
One way to be honest.
Oh, baby. Trying to sleep over it, you want to sleep through it.
Yolanda knows she playing.
Oh my goodness. Look,
We told y'all this show was gonna be so
Every episode. Yolanda.
Hey, we definitely need a conversation.
No, we don't. So we sleep through it. Hey, you sleep if you want to. What? I don't know what's gonna happen in the morning when you wake up. What you gonna be doing? Don't ask me no questions. Cause I was there, you were.
Yolanda instigated. I ain't even mess with
Yeah,
her.
she definitely.
To your point though, right? It's incumbent upon us, right? Right. Who are you really gonna give your time and your energy to?
Yes,
Right?
yes.
Whether they're gonna appreciate the things that you do, because here's the thing. Whether it's going to get the condoms or the chips or anything else, is really a lot bigger than going to get the chips or the condoms.
It is.
Yeah.
Because
It is.
please know there are people that I'm not going to do anything
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not that invested. I'm not that interested. It's late. If I leave here, I'm going home.
And that's exactly why I made mention of the misinterpretation.
Absolutely.
Because if I go, you got to now decipher. Because he's going to get these chips, he's going to get these condoms. Does he like me,
Absolutely.
or just is he lusting after me?
Absolutely.
You follow what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of times that gets lost in translation, right? Because females, they had this emotional makeup.
Yeah.
And to your point, you go out 3 o'clock in the morning, go get him a bag of chips. Oh, this guy would do that for me. He really like me. That's it.
But let me throw this in there. So what about the guy that doesn't go out at that? But they really like a lot to where they drop their guard and let them do what you plan on doing with the condom, have sex, but without it.
I don't really judge that no time.
I don't judge it, but the thing is, see, that's how a lot of other things happen. You know what I mean?
Like what?
And it can be anything from pregnancy to disease.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So don't trip off of guys like us that's willing to go out in that thunderstorm to get the condom. Don't trip off of that.
Let me be clear.
Hey,
Let me
look.
be clear. If I run to the store and get a condom, it's only because you asked. It's only because of a request. He lied today. He lied. I'm
We
wrong.
made it was a different episode.
Wrong.
Anytime her face looks like
I'm
that.
just saying. Hey, raw dog in him. If I ain't got him, and you ain't got him, and you ain't requested him.
Hey, he better
Oh,
know.
no. You hear me?
Woman I say go, y'all look, y'all just shout go farther. She's like,
I'm saying it's funny, but these are the things females y'all gotta consider. And this is why I say, this is why I hold a greater value for females as I do guys. Because in those situations, we don't like all we thinking about is hit.
Yeah,
We ain't thinking about
yeah.
whether we got a condom, whether you got a condom, if you're requesting a condom, whatever we can do to hit, that's what we gonna do. So if you say you're requesting a condom, want to get one. If you like you give me the no but yes, and you don't need a condom, I'm like, yeah. Like it really don't matter in those circumstances for us, which is why I ultimately say this is where females have to have a greater standard for their value, right? In
Yeah,
these
all the time.
moments. I say it all the time because to your point, they let their guards down,
yeah.
right? Because I went and got a bag of chips last week.
Right.
Now they think they all impressed. When at the end of the day, I was just doing that for access.
There you go. Say
But
it again.
again, going back to something that's foundational for our platform and that's setting standards. And please be clear if you're just tuning in or you haven't heard us say before, standards are things that are non-negotiable. They are the bedrock. They are the if he or she is not this or does not do that, it's a no-go for me, right? Because otherwise you kind of find yourself falling for getting with just anything, right? And then when you do that, you get what you get, you like it, you don't complain. Except that's not what happened because all we have to do is look at social media and all the people complaining about the dating pool being full of pee. And what I'll say is this is a whole nother episode. But typically, if the dating pool is full of shh, so are you, right? Because we tend to get and attract what we are or what we're ready for. And so if you're unhappy with who you keep finding yourself ending up with, the person that you got to shout to and talk to the most is the individual that's in the mirror.
Facts.
You know what I mean? And that's something, generally speaking, ladies, you all do not want to hear. I will tell you this. I gave an exercise. If there was a room full of 100 women and I said, raise your hand if you're a good woman, all 100 women will raise their hand. Somebody in this damn room is lying.
Yeah.
Basically.
Somebody, but, right, because we talk about that, how often women are unwilling to receive the information, the feedback, right? Our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, our fears, our concerns. There's a lack of accountability that leaves them unable, to understand what their opportunities are. And all too often, because it's difficult for us, we just give up.
Yeah.
We step off, we cheat, whatever the thing may be, in a way in which, ladies, you often don't get what your opportunities are. And so part of us, our platform, right, is providing a different experience, right?
Yes.
Listening differently, communicating differently in a way in which hopefully the women that we're partnering with understand, right, what we need, what we want, what it is that we desire, because that's not typically their experience.
That's facts.
Right.
That's facts. I think that's generally across the board. Of course, there are exceptions to every rule, of course, right? But generally speaking, when you, I'll say it this way: when you have a man that's open and vulnerable, and it's coming to you being
Your
proactive,
mom's
yeah.
Oh, you're feminine.
And I'm coming to you. I'm just saying, hey, here's my concern.
Yeah.
Right. Here's what I'm challenged with in our relationship.
Yeah.
And you ultimately you automatically become defensive and argumentative.
Yeah.
Right. And you now compare what I just brought to you to some of the things that you may be feeling about me.
Exactly. Well, you this.
Well, you did it last week.
Right.
Okay.
Well, what about when you?
I'm gonna tell you right now, that immediately shuts every man down without question.
Yes.
And it puts us in a place where we no longer want to talk about even what the concern is.
Yeah.
Because men, we're not combative by nature.
We're not.
Right? We're resolvers, we're fixers.
Especially for women.
Especially for women that
We focus on y'all.
yes,
We put ourselves last, but we bear the scars.
yeah,
Right?
I think now this may be a little off, but I think a lot of times women don't even really see that with us, right? When we go through whatever it is that we may go through for them. I think some do. I think it's actually, I think a lot do. But I think some actually see what they want to see, or they see what they're used to seeing. No matter what, no matter what difference. Say for example, you're dating a woman, right? And she's used to guys criticizing her, verbally, critiquing her, whatever. And if you gave one critique out of, say, for example, 3 months of dating, 6 months of dating, or what have you, you real judgmental. This is the first time I ever said anything that perhaps you may not like or don't agree with, and now I'm under the bus. So sometimes, I think, in relation to, say, for example, the overnight bag and things like that, we're saying how we perceive certain things as men, but we're also saying that you guys look at things differently than we do. So the things that are magnified to you guys that are not magnified.
that was actually one of the things that I was impressed with Dow, with her being receptive
Mm-hmm.
to some of the things at that point that she was somewhat aware of, right?
Mm-hmm.
Me being a guy and kind of had some of the experiences of a guy, I understood and knew, what kind of signals to take from certain situations, right? While Di, because she had been in the dating arena, she just she didn't have to really answer to anyone,
Mm-hmm.
right? She wasn't committed. She didn't have to really say, "Hey, this is what I do." Like, I'm dating now. You ain't my man, and you're a woman, for lack of better words, right? So for her, some of the things that I started to recognize, and I think this is important for females, because I started to convey those things to her. One of the attractions for me is that she was receptive, right? Doesn't mean that everything changed,
right?
Doesn't mean she stopped, but just for a female to say, let me, that, but you might got a point there.
But you know what's the unique thing, say for example, with you and Di, is that when we joke around about this sometimes, Di's perspective is that like a dude sometimes. Listen, where she can see things like a dude sometimes. And so that right there, it's almost like she has the on and off switch.
So let me say this.
And a lot of women don't have that on and off.
Let me say this to that point, because I think you bring up a great point, right? Females, while you move like a guy, just always remember you're not.
Exactly.
Right? Because it's important for several reasons, right? One, because I talk about that value piece, right? Where you should always raise your value. Men, I'm gonna be honest. I don't believe men actually value themselves, and we should.
We don't.
We're taught not to.
We don't.
Yeah. So if I may be real,
We're taught not to.
You know what? So real quick, that's Steve Harvey thing. Think like a man, all of that, right? You have to be very careful with that, because in thinking like a man, and sometimes you slip into that mode of moving like a man, you're going to devalue yourself, because we're not going to see you for who you really are. We're going to see you as that woman that moves like a dude.
yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And now that may be okay with some guys. That may be okay. But like we said it before with that that pond, it gets smaller. Whereas before you had a million fish in it, but you moving the way you move, a smaller amount of guys, like, you know.
And I'll even take it a step further because females use that statement now, not understanding
Mhm.
that also potentially can cause a guy to have a certain perception of you as well.
Red flag.
That could potentially be a red flag. So you tell me you move like a dude, automatically in my head, I'm thinking, wait, she moved like me?
Yo,
Because again, I remember having this conversation with Dad, right? I told Dad when this one was really getting serious. I said, I really need you to be patient with me, right? As I'm gonna be patient with you because I've never dealt with someone like me. You know what I'm saying?
That's the key.
And that's tough for a lot of guys. But females, what I don't want you guys to do is fall in the trap as thinking that's okay. Right? We talk about creating these new norms. Like that's not normal for a female to be more like a dude. It's not normal.
Here's what I will say:
It's become normal.
so, ladies, please know.
For obvious reasons.
Absolutely. Part of our platform is accountability. So what we're not going to do is point fingers without a real keen understanding of why what's happening is transparency, transparent. We understand that men, especially black men, right, have not been the best example of fathers. Although the ones of us who are don't get the credit that we deserve for the things that we do, right? We have not been the best example of husbands and partners, although the ones of us that are don't get the credit that we deserve. And so we understand that how those absences, right, or how that lack of accountability or that lack of presence has caused you all to feel like you need to, right, step into the things that you weren't experiencing or weren't getting. What we're saying is we experience those things differently.
Yes.
Right? And so when you all move like us, you don't have the ability to typically shed the way that we experience things. So men can bed, sleep with, be with dozens of women and keep it moving and it not mean a lot. Whereas generally speaking, you all are gonna wear and bear those scars. Case in point, I could take an R&B song from 1995 and play it right now, right? Slow song, and women are gonna say, "Yeah, Michael Thomas, ninth grade. I remember he did such and such and so forth and so on." And so, all I'm saying is that be careful about moving the way that we move when you're not built the way that we're built, right? Because what happens all too often is you all end up in a circle full of your friends with a glass of wine, crying about what you've experienced in a way in which you're not ready to experience, and it negatively impacting and keeping you from the relationships and the men that you really say that you want anyway.
Yeah. So, and let me give you an example, right? So a man that, say for example, 55, 60, a man at that age,
We got to the breach.
he still can, you know, pull some young women. Not to say that an older woman can't, but the value of that man, because that man can still work, he got his pension, he got this, he can treat and spoil the young woman. An older woman, right? Well, not. Ain't that we doing that? Ain't that we doing that? But a man can somehow can do sugar daddies, for example. Now they do say there are some quote unquote sugar moms, but I guarantee you,
They all at the
far
VFW.
it's far less
They all up at
sugar
VFW.
than it is sugar daddies. You get what I'm saying? So what older woman that's in her 60s gonna be paying for young guy after young guy after young guy?
VFW, champ. See, I ain't been to the VFW. Easy up there, baby.
They always talk about dudes going to the DR. If you're in the DR, there are middle-aged women there taking 17 and 19-year-old boys up to the 1 hour motel too.
Wow.
Okay.
Can we? I didn't know.
So the preacher says,
No.
the preacher says, right? Because she said
Transparent.
transparency. Men are not typically transparent. And I was like, what? Transparent about what? She said, what if your circumstances make you makes it so you're not necessarily moving like a dude? You just have no man assistant. Then she went on to say, transparent about your likes, dislikes, what men truly think and how they feel. I think both of them are great.
So this is good. So one
Thank you, Lucretia.
here's one of the things is it's a distinct difference between men and women, right? So all of us are fathers, right?
Right.
All of us are fathers of girls, which I think matters also. For whatever reason, it's very one-sided from a paradigm in terms of if a woman especially has children with a man who might not be present or active or whatever the case may be, the thought or the talk is that they have to become masculine to be for that child, whatever that child needs. On the flip side of that, what doesn't happen, because I know single fathers, right? The world never talks about those experiences, but I know men raising their children single-handedly. Listen, I'm not, my daughter's mom is phenomenal, but my 23-year-old daughter lives with me. My 15-year-old daughter is with me literally on a daily basis. I don't have to become feminine to be everything that they need for me to be in terms of a father. So like this whole misnomer, right? I don't have to tap into any femininity.
Somebody
I
think
think
in the back of the
yeah. So it's, I mean, miss me with that. I don't even understand where that comes from.
real.
You simply mother them. There's nothing fatherly about you. You don't have, and I'm not discounting if you have sons and have to take them, but that doesn't make you masculine. Like, you don't have to tap into masculine energy to do that, right? So I'm not sure why that whole thought process, you know, to me it's just more of a slight towards us,
It is.
right? Which, you know, yeah.
It is because here's the thing. A woman doing it on her own, number one, you get way more props than anything because you're doing it on your own as a woman.
The same way, right? So thankfully it's tailored off because men, we're not having it where we would often see on social media on Father's Day, women saying Happy Father's Day to me. For the men that take care of their children, you never heard one of us saying Happy Father's Day to me or to mother.
Yeah. And there is a such thing as absent mothers.
Absolutely.
And you know, I have a few buddies that honestly, like Vic or what have you, who are raising their kids or what have you, so on and so forth, and live in a household with them. Some are doing it solely by themselves. And some, you know, the mother is still involved. They just not together, but they choose to, you know. But one thing for certain too, for sure, we gotta stop beating each other up.
Yes.
Because things aren't the way that you want them to be.
Listen, let's double down. Give me folks. So miss me with all the criticism and finger pointing
Right.
towards men that you chose to lay down with.
Oh,
Let's keep it a buck. That's the night you didn't have him go to 7-Eleven, right? I'm just, which was what I was saying with my friends, right? Like every day that he's not is the dude that you chose.
shows.
That you gave access to the most personal, private, valuable part of yourself.
Yes. You chose that. You chose that.
Good.
Stop playing it.
I'm sure.
I'm the same.
But I'm not
I'm very proud of you, Vic.
That's what I'm saying. All right.
It swung back and forth, but so Yolanda made a good point, right?
Right. She did.
So we are anomalies. I'm about to set modesty down for a second. The three of us sitting before you are not common, generally speaking, right? Ladies, you have to.
And this goes to Lucretia's point, and I want to address it.
Bridget, I'll be brief. You have to understand how we're raised if you don't have sons. Actually, how sons are raised now are different than us. Bruce, Caprice, and I were 5. If we fell down and skinned our knees, it was get up. Stop it. Stop crying.
That's
Don't be a punk. You better go out there and fight them. I don't care if you get whipped, right? These are so we are literally taught from almost birth to divorce ourselves from our emotions.
Yes.
Right. And so when we get in relationships with y'all, you have to understand we've not been trained or taught to tap into how we feel. We're trained and taught how to provide, and that doesn't necessarily require feelings.
Right.
You ask something of us that most of us aren't equipped to give you, right? Then you procreate with us, and now you're locked in and you deal with the circumstances and the repercussions.
So this goes to Lubricia's question. She said, transparent about your likes, dislikes, she's talking about men.
Yeah.
And what men truly think and how they feel. So again, and this is why I made the point at a while back in the episode, because when you meet a man that does open up and is vulnerable, right? That's a sign that that man definitely cares something about you, right? There's something that he's conveying to you to say, hey, yeah, like I'm really feeling you, right? It would behoove you, ladies, to at that point determine, and I'm saying this lightly, loosely, determine the genuineness of that vulnerability. And here's here's why I'm saying that, because again, there are men that will prey on females with their vulnerability simply for access. But I also will say that men who are vulnerable, they are vulnerable. Like that, make no mistake about it. But now you have to check the motive on why they're being vulnerable, right? And then right before I shoot it to you, because for me, I'm just a heart person.
You are, for sure.
You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
it's while it's not hard for me to be vulnerable, I'm conscious about who I give my vulnerability to.
As you should be.
Right?
As you should be.
Because even to the point with Di, she always joked with me about this. He said, I remember the first time I told him I love him, like he didn't even tell me that back. Because to me, that's important. Like that word means something to me. And I don't play with that word simply because I want to hit.
Correct.
You don't have to. Because you don't.
Well, you
know what I'm saying? So I think just be cautious in these two areas. And then it comes right to you, Vic. If a guy is vulnerable, be sensitive to his vulnerabilities. But be cautious of his vulnerability. And his motive behind that.
Repeat that.
If a guy is vulnerable, be sensitive to his vulnerabilities, but also be conscious of his motives behind him being vulnerable.
If she possesses the ability to be sensitive to
That too.
vulnerability. So in our community, right? So we said like and follow. We had really, really dope conversations in the King's Cutting Board community. So please find it on Facebook. And so Tiffany, one of our members, posted a clip today that was really, really dope. And it was posing the questions of how are we raising girls to basically treat boys and then also
I thought
men, right? And it was profound because it's not part of the conversation that we had. And so, ladies, you often ask us to open up and be vulnerable. You want to know what we think. My old pastor used to say you can have whatever you want, but count the cost. So I'll never forget, this was literally 1 week after I got married. So literally 7 days after I got married. I got married on a Saturday. The next Saturday morning, I was still honeymooning. I was in the bed asleep. And my best friend called me and woke me up. And he was like, yo, Chad is gone. So Chad was my cousin, who was really like my brother. What do you mean? Right? So literally, my cousin, who was like my brother, passed away 7 days. Last time I saw him was when I got married. So we rushed to his mother's house. We're sitting in the front yard. And anybody knows me, I'm very stoic. I'm very laid back. You never see me too high. You never see me too low. And it was the magnitude of being at his mother's house. And every time we ever been there for the last 25 years, he was there and realizing he wasn't going to pull up. He wasn't going to walk through that gate.
Right.
And yo, I broke. I'm talking about, I'm crying profusely. And I looked up now at my ex-wife, who always like a lot, babe, I want to know what you think and share with me how you feel. And she was paralyzed. She had no idea what to do with me in that moment. That's not throwing shade on her, right? What I'm saying is, it's when we're vulnerable and when we share, the reasons why we generally don't, ladies, because when we do, all too often, y'all don't know what to do with it.
Right.
Mishandled.
Right.
It's absolutely mishandled.
Well,
And that wasn't an example of being mishandled, right? But if you haven't seen it, right?
you don't.
If you haven't experienced, if you haven't prepared for it, because here's the thing, we know before we take on a wife, there's certain things that we got to be ready for. You better not walk in the house and the lights be off.
But to go back to what you said before, when we were younger and we stuff it up. A lot of it, we're trained to be this way. You guys aren't trained to deal with us when we're vulnerable and we break down or what have
But I think it also circles back to the whole bag in the car situation, because while a lot of times we tell our kids verbally what to do, we show them something totally different.
you. Well, see,
You follow what I'm saying? So we can't blame our kids. And again, I always reference that we always have these conversations while kids won't end up doing what they want to do anyway.
right.
There's some level of what they are doing, they saw being done.
So to me, proper training of your children when it comes to how to deal with the spouse or mate or what have you has a lot to do with how you interact with your spouse.
Absolutely.
But a lot of times what's done is go to your room and they don't see how you and the spouse reconcile, how you problem solve, how you know what I mean?
Conflict resolution.
And then, you know, a lot of times, some women, when you're dating or what have you, they don't even, they don't like to bring the person, and I get it, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you should or shouldn't, but they don't like to bring the person who they're dating around children or what have you. They don't bring too many male friends, like male friends around. But what message is being sent if you're not shaping the mind correctly? Like, for example, how many female friends do you have that you're just strictly friends? If all their theme is women that come around that you're in love with or that you're in a relationship with, then their mindset is, well, not all, but a lot of the mindset is, oh, that's what they're for if it's a little boy. If it's a girl and she sees her mother, oh, she dating Mr. Such and such. That relationship ends, and now she's dating this person. She's never seen that her mother has tons of male friends that she's not in a relationship with, that they're just friends.
I mean,
So they can, and I'm not saying that all of them perceive it to be the same way, but they could take it the wrong way and you don't realize it until they're 18, 19, what have you. Like, you're thinking this all along. I got plenty of male
one of
friends.
those foundational things that we talk about relationships is transparency,
Right.
So, you know, my daughters, they know who their dad is, right? And so I share with them what I was doing at their age. I share with them, right? The first time I got a girl pregnant, I was 15. I shared with them the times that I've gotten locked up. I've shared with them the times where bullets could have hit and killed me, right? And all of this is about, first of all, the grace and the glory of God on my life. And why it's important that we say our prayers at night and do these things, but also to your point, because especially for girls, we're the greatest example. We're going to determine what they look for. So often,
Right.
we're going to determine how they move, and how we treat them. And this is one that we could keep going on
Definitely.
and on with fellas. And so
Stop having the bags in your cars.
That's it.
When it's all said and done, it's ultimately, man. Y'all shoot bad signals with condoms, bags, minivans, and
Don't have ugly.
one of the cases,
that.
Yolanda.
Stop telling men you moving like I move like a band, or you know what I'm saying? Woo, Jesus. Y'all stop it.
We love and appreciate you all.
We definitely do.
Listen, happy Friday, ladies and gentlemen. We had fun this evening, but please know at the core, everything, and I do mean everything that we talk about, right, is intentionally, once again, about causing us to lean in, right, to talk to each other far more than at one another with the express purpose of advancing, bettering how we relate. Please know our children, our people, our society, we're so much better together than we are apart. It's incumbent upon us. We need to stop this finger pointing out, ladies, whether he take all this, he better take me here, he better not take me there. Like, cut it out. Cut it out. Stop playing.
I like cheesecake.
They got a dope happy hour.
We gotta talk about y'all first date where y'all went, because y'all set another good example. Matter of fact, that's a dope upcoming topic. What a first date should look like.
Facts.
Get y'all together. Stop playing out here. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, happy Friday. Have a great weekend. We have been the King's Cutting Board. We love and appreciate you all. Lean in, love on each other a little bit more. I have been Victor Vaughn. The gentleman to my immediate left has been
Caprice, also known as Don Chico.
and to his left.
Bruce Bailey, aka Choir Boy the Preacher. Rolando, we appreciate y'all
Absolutely.
tonight.
Yeah.
Of course, always gotta give it up to our producer who always keep us on point. What a night, y'all.
Dangerous D.
We love y'all. We will see you all the next time. Good night and God bless.
Hey, remember, all we want is some peace and a peace.
And a peace.
Peace.
Later.
Later.